Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of 5 Drinks for Midnight. You know the show, we bring the questions, guests bring the drinks, and we try to wrap up before midnight. Today we're standing in TV Alley. You ever watch Law & Order? Someone's always ended up dead here. It also holds the entrance to St. Tuesday, one of my new favorite bars here in New York City. And today we're talking to the owner, Chris Covey. But before we do, like and subscribe. It will really help us out. Thanks. Chris Covey, thank you so much for joining us. 5 Drinks for Midnight. 5 drinks, 5 questions. Midnight, whatever comes first.
Mm-hmm.
Sir, thank you so much for joining us and having us at St. Tuesdays.
Absolutely.
What are we drinking first?
I figured we start off, since it's 5 drinks for midnight, with a midnight stinger.
Excellent.
So bourbon, Fernet, lemon, a little mint to garnish it off.
Excellent. Cheers. Oh, that's good. That's a good one. Oh. All right, so I guess question one really just comes down to an origin story. How'd you get started in the bar business and then also become a bar owner?
Oh, goodness. A lot of patience. So I was living in Missouri about 10 years ago, and about 9 months after that, I was told my partner at the time, we have to leave Missouri. You pick a coast, but we're going one way or the other. And her brother lived in New York, so I moved to New York. I moved out a couple months before she did, and was like, got a sublet, was looking for a job, got a job at like this tech company that was like one of the best places to work at in New York. And after 3 months, I was miserable there, and I put in a month's notice, and they fired me that day. So I was found myself out on Broadway, being like, wait, what is going on? And I just found a job at a restaurant in Fort Greene, waiting tables and food expediting. And it really was it was kind of one of the first spots that I felt like I really belonged as an adult, where like everyone was there kind of doing something else. It was this community of people that were working there. There was this immediacy to the job that I really loved, and I just started picking the bartender's brains, like, how do you do this? What's a drink I should learn? On slow shifts, I would just make the drinks and run them out to the tables there, and that kind of really started me falling in love with it. That was like 7, 8 years ago. And then from there, just kind of bounced over to different restaurants, bartending in different restaurants. I helped that one of the same people that I first met at that first job opened up a bar called Cell Rose over on Bowery and Delancey, and then he needed some extra help one time, so I started working with them. And then it wasn't until I went over to Weather Up in Brooklyn one night, and with one of the bartenders there, closed the bar down with him, and I was looking for extra shifts, and he goes, you know what, man? Come on over to this other bar I work at in the West Village. It's this bar called Little Branch. And I'd never heard of Little Branch before. It was like 5 or 6 years ago. And he's like, yeah, I'll introduce you to the GM. And I show up there with like resumes, and I'm all like prepared to meet this very professional GM. And met someone who's like now one of my best friends, Luis Gill, that was bartending. He's like, can you write your name and number on this like a scratch pad there? And then about a week later, he asked if I could work Sundays. Like. And I was not qualified to do it at all. Like I had bartended, I'd worked behind it, but it was just a different working in one of those bars with the quality there. So, but I loved it. Like I just like, the learning process was so much fun for me, and it's funny. I when I was working at Cell Rose, I think every Monday I'd go by Attaboy, and it was just the only bar open at 2 a.m, and I would be like, oh, why do you guys do it that way? Why are you not shaking with ice if it's something that's I don't want to crush ice or something like that, little things. And Ricey and Brandon were nice enough to not like be annoyed by that all the time. So, and it was kind of, and then, so I really loved it. I love learning. I just started working there a lot, and other bars in the family from that. And then I was working at Lantern's Keep when this kind of eccentric guy came in and did the thing of like, I'm opening up this new bar down in a hotel, give me your contact information, which a couple people have done that before and they never follow up. They're just like, wanting to flex or whatever, and maybe again, it was like 3 months later, I get an email out of the blue, I don't remember him, but of course I act like I do. And oh yeah, of course I remember you. And met him, and then I met the food and beverage director, a guy named Dan Giddings. He owns Lilia out in Williamsburg, and a few other spots, and he was directing all the spots in the hotel. But this was an opportunity to partner with him and a couple other people to open up St. Tuesday, which is the same food and beverage group as the rooftop bar, Happy Bee, and the restaurant that's going to be opening up next month, hopefully. And yeah, that was like almost 3 years ago that we first started talking about it, and we were delayed before the pandemic, and then but it's finally happening now, which is really exciting.
That's awesome.
It's a real
Again,
space.
it's a beautiful space on that. So cheers to you on that. That's again
Cheers.
fucking amazing. How do you think your positions then changed from going from like bartender at a family bar to now even opening up your own family bar, if you will?
Yeah.
Like being like gone from like just bartender to now owner, operator, manager.
It's a lot. I find myself gravitating towards like wanting to do bar shifts and stuff because like I know what I'm doing there. It's like, oh, okay, this is comfortable. Having to, yeah, it's especially working with like a hotel group where there's just so many different stakeholders involved, and not always communicating with each other about everything. It's been a big change and a transition as far as trying to know when to step back, when to defer certain things. Thankfully, the people that I've been able to hire here so far through, knowing folks in the industry and then some just like dumb luck have been incredible. And it's been very easy to be able to take a step back. I'm realizing now that I don't need to be behind the bar every night. Like I can trust the people that are going to do a really good job. And that's been really like freeing because then I'm able to focus on trying to talk to PR companies or coordinate things with with parties with investors or things like that. So that's been again, it's a challenge learning how to do that, but I'm trying to act confident when I do it the whole time.
No, again, I mean, every time we've been here, you have also been behind the bar. So like, is it, again, you kind of mentioned it, is it hard not being like?
I'm still going to keep one bartending shift a week. I gotta stay fresh working with Lauren Shell on Thursdays.
There you go.
But other than that, it's like trying to. It's now like I know like I can on Fridays and Saturdays I can host, which is great. And I can just kind of like and then float and help out, but I don't need to be here from 6 to 4 in the morning. Yeah, unless I choose.
Unless you want to, right? Yeah. Well, that's question one. So super easy. Train's leaving the station. I already had a fucking amazing cocktail. So cheers.
Ready for the next one.
Yep. All right. On to question 2. Drink 2. What are we drinking?
So I figured we should do an original here. This is one called the Villanelle. So is cognac, Cynar, creme de cacao, and fresh lemon juice.
All right.
There we go. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yes.
Oh, that's good. That's damn good. Any meaning behind the name?
The name, it is. It's funny. This is going to sound very pretentious, but I'm ready for it. I was talking to someone working with a bar back last night. We were like talking about just the way we structure building our drinks here, where it's like a strict, kind of like within the rules and the confines gives you a lot of freedom to do a lot of interesting things, but they're still going to be balanced. They're still going to be tasty. And I was like, it's like poetry. It's like a sonnet, right? Like it's a really structured, rigid poem there. So Villanelle is a type of poem where you have, and I'm gonna mess up, but it ends with a quatrain, but then it is 5 3-line stanzas where the last line of each one has to repeat. So it is like, oh goodness, I'm not prepared for this now. With the Dylan Thomas poem, like.
'Cause their words had forked no lightning, they do not go gentle into that good night.
That's like one of the most famous villanelles, and it's I love that there's just such freedom within like a super rigid structure there. And I also wanted to create a drink that was an equal parts. Like a Last Word or a Corpse Reviver #2. And I was like, all right, let's play around with something like that. I'm a big fan of Cynar, so.
Excellent. Well, cheers.
Yeah.
We didn't cheers, but yeah. Well, then again, this kind of ties in nicely to our second question, which is, where did the name St. Tuesdays come from?
St. Tuesday. So that, it's funny, I was mentioning before, all these different stakeholders and different, all these investors, and this is something that I'm not used to. But when it came to naming the bar, I was like, I had a couple different ideas, but the first one was St. Tuesday, and the folks were like, yeah, we love it, great. I was like, oh, cool, I didn't need to go through some PR company where they're gonna filter it all through, it's just some algorithm to make it searchable online.
Yeah.
So the name St. Tuesday, so this building is for an old buttons and ribbons factory from the 1890s. And so really trying to lean into with the, I don't know if it's theme or aesthetic of that kind of, that time period in New York specifically. And in colonial to pre-industrial revolution times, 1800s there, if you were someone if you were a craftsman and you had to work on Saturdays, you would take Sunday and Monday off. You call it Sunday and you're Saint Monday. And if you were someone that had to work all weekend, so you're working Saturdays, Sundays, you take Saint Monday and Saint Tuesday. So it's kind of the Saint Tuesday is the resting day for someone who has to work all weekend.
Gotcha.
Hence the bartending lifestyle there often. So, and it is kind of funny because we now are not open on Mondays and Tuesdays. Not necessarily by choice at this point, but it's so that was a little bit of irony there, but that's where that came.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So no ghost stories, no nothing.
No, and it's funny with these windows down in the cellar vault. You'd think it's probably haunted. A while ago, I was like, all right. Eventually, when I was looking to move, I was like, I could just move into the back there. I'll have with my cat, and she'll just kind of wander around, look through the windows during service. She'd love it. But no, other than the specter of my cat, there's no ghost down here.
Excellent. Well, that was again great cocktail and a quick, easy
answer. All right.
Yeah.
Good.
Awesome. Cheers.
Cheers.
On to question 3, drink 3. What are we drinking?
We've got a hat in hand.
Hat in hand.
Aged rum, a little cognac, banana liqueur, Angostura bitters, and a pinch of salt.
Very nice.
Cheers.
Cheers. I don't think I've ever had this. Because it says, would this be part of the dad's hat, an old hat and stuff, part of that family?
It's a one from, I forget whose drink it was, but a Rain's Law Room one. But it was on the menu at Fresh Kills for a while.
All right.
And I was just in love with it. I love a stirred rum drink, so I'm always a little bit curious about that. It's just oh yeah, that's going to have to go on our menu at some point.
Oh, that's damn good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then on to question 3.
So,
You've worked at some of the greatest New York cocktail bars. I've seen some shit at some New York cocktail bars. What is one of the weirdest things or coolest things you've seen working during a shift?
oh man. One of the coolest or weirdest. So, I used to work at this bar called Fig 19, and it was the same owner as Cell Rose. So after I helped out with my friend with a couple holiday shifts because he was desperate, and then I met the owner, and she's like, "Oh, we're looking for someone around the corner," and it's this really cool space. And at the time, I was like, "Oh, these drinks are amazing." I don't mean to besmirch them, but the space is gorgeous. You enter through an art gallery, and then it's the back door of a gallery. That was a fully working gallery to this cool little cocktail space. It's gorgeous. It's right above Home Sweet Home, the classic diving spot down there. And I just started there. Maybe I'd been there for a few months, and I was working on a Friday or Saturday with someone I hadn't worked with before, and we were it was a fun shift and everything. And then it was just the number of people who would just try to walk behind the bar to just ask a question or take a picture and say, no, you can't do that. And this one night it was same thing. So she goes back and then she just starts climbing on the bar. We have all these water glasses there too. Knocks them all over to sit down just to take a photo. And it was this same woman. This is just one of these her being. That same night she also just took our water pitcher and just started drinking out of it. They were like, yeah, we gotta run that through the dishwasher. That's not great. And then later that night, our security guard told me that he hooked up with her and her sister at the same time. And I was like, man, she was just a mess that night. She was really, and he was bragging about it. I was like, I don't know, that's the coolest shit in the world, man.
She probably doesn't remember that.
Yeah, I don't know if that's that was a weird one there. It was Yeah, I know, like, okay, here's one of my favorite ones. So it was a couple years ago, I was working at Little Branch, and there's a huge snowstorm. And I guess it was probably like 2 winters ago, probably like 3 years ago. And so the bar isn't really open, or we weren't open, but just so many people that worked there like came to hang out just because like the snowstorm, no one's doing anything, and all the there are no cabs or anything like that. So it's just gonna be like, well, I'm gonna walk home when I'm done. So no cabs, like, and it's just like it feels like a ghost town in the West Village, and yet like every time like you hear the door open and it's Luis bringing like 3 or 4 people in, or Danny comes by with a bunch of friends from Gold Bar, and it was like, yes, this is probably actually more like 4 years ago because it was back when he was working there, and it was just all these like, and it became this like 30, 40 person just like impromptu party after hours of like people that I knew maybe a third of them, but like, and it was just such a like, it feels weird now because we like being indoors with a lot of people now, it still feels like a little taboo, and I'm feeling like I'm like saying like we were having a COVID party when we weren't supposed to do, but like it didn't,
way before.
Yeah, I was like, it didn't even exist then. It's so weird to think about it now. And so it was just, it was so much fun. It was just like everyone's having just like such good vibes and everything like that. Like it was really a lot of fun, and like one of those kind of ideal party nights out where like no one gets in an argument. There's no one's breaking up, and it was just so much fun. And at one point, the only thing, this guy who worked at Gold Bar, he was on that by the mirror where the like on the floor area is where there's like a little bench, and then there's a ductwork right above it. So it kind of is like a low thing, so you can't really stand up. You gotta have to like push forward a little bit. And at one point, he's just sitting there for a while, not talking, and he's drunk, but he's just like hanging out. And then he just goes to as he starts standing up aggressively. He just goes, "I own many leather-bound books," and bam, just hits his head right at the top so hard, and just everyone stopped. We're like, "You okay, man?" And he sits back down, and then about 15 minutes later, I was upstairs, and he's kind of wandering around, like trying to find the exit. It's like, "You all right, buddy?" And I think he made it home already. I mean, I saw him later, like the next day, or not the next day, but the next week, he seemed fine. Yeah, I mean, those are kind of the crazy stories. All right, you got time for one more?
Sure.
This was
always.
This was like. So I was working the floor at Little Branch, and it's and there's the 3 2-top tables, so it's like it's like one seat. I feel like everyone has stories about
Daters Row.
Yeah, Daters Row. And these 2 women were at I believe table 3, like kind of not right in the view of the floor, but like there. And pretty immediately they both just go to the same side, which like it's not made for 2 people. Like they're right on top of each other. And it's like, whatever, they're making out a little bit, it's kind of cute, it's like, it doesn't seem, and I kind of am making the pass back and forth with like water pitcher, and it's getting hotter, and like they're getting more into it, and I turn like, that woman is fingering the other woman there, like just, and so they stop making out, and she's just fully on like having an orgasm there, or at least getting close, and They take like a second break, and I was just like, guys, you gotta take it from a 10 to a 7, all right? Like, and they were so cool about it. They ended up hanging out like till the end of the night. They were laughing about it. It was really funny, but it was just like they're in a different world right now. I know a lot of people have the stories about people just.
But yeah, that is to this day still one of my favorites.
Yeah. One time I was working the bar, and people were in the bar. This couple, underneath where the AC unit is, where those like 4 stools are, and he was just kind of like. Ian, who's bar back, he's like, I think those people are fucking right now. And I was like, no. And it was kind of crowded, but like not. And I was like, yep, he was kind of like sitting back, leaning on the stool, and she'd kind of, and it's like, yeah, and so like, I forget who was working the door, but it was like, you guys gotta get the fuck out of here. Like, what are you doing? Like,
there's a bar on the east side, I don't even know if it's still around anymore, but it was, there was a sign in the bathroom that says, please don't fuck in our bathrooms. If you really find the urge, please see the hostess. She'll find a place for you.
That's amazing.
It was just, All right, well, that's drink 3, question 3. we went a little rated R, but you know, I think.
All right, the PG one.
No, we're good.
No,
you know,
no, but I've got one that's. I know it's like it's not a star fucking thing, but I did see like my like celebrity crush of Phoebe Waller-Bridge, just who also wrote Killing Eve, Villanelle, came in a little one night, and I was just like, oh my god, like didn't talk to her, nothing like that. She and her, I think boyfriend or whoever she was dating at the time, they closed out the bar, very nice. That's the whole story, but it was just like. That's one of the cool New York things where it's just like people walk in and they're just like having some drinks and then leave. It's not like no one really cared, noticed. Who was it? The guy who played John Slattery came in one time and I was hosting there and he's just like, I said, okay, how many? 2? What's your first name? John? Cool. I'll let you know when we have a table ready. And he wasn't like, do you know who I am? He's like, okay, cool. He had a drink with his friend there and then they left. It was like the nonchalance around it. Yeah. I love that. That's
and again, he lives in the neighborhood too.
Okay,
which is great. Yeah, like he's always at there's the hotel over by the Ear. He drinks there a lot. So like there, but that one, that's.
Again, like I think like I'm such a romantic for this city, and I feel like the bar world is where it's like that has like melded so much for me. I don't know, this book called Sweet Bitter, written by Stephanie Danler, wonderful author. Was like it just very like it captured that energy of what working in the service industry is like, and I mean like you see there's books all over here. Our check presenters are books like short story collections and things like that, and like as someone who's like loves to read and write, like that's been a huge influence over that, and these things that capture that speed and that energy, that kind of like. A night starts and anything could happen, which feels very neat. I think we're all so close together. Like it's I don't know. I mean I'm an East Coaster pretty much, except for my 1 year in Missouri. But like so I'm used to like close cities. But there's something different about the city here, and it's like very easy to be like kind of corny about it. But I buy into it.
All right, on to question 4. Drink 4. What are we drinking?
We're drinking a suitcase.
Fuck we are.
Cheers.
Again, one of my favorite drinks. Ooh. This is so good. Oh, just for the people at home, what's in the suitcase?
So, rye whiskey. It's a rye whiskey old-fashioned variation. I use like Michter's, a little bit of Chinar, a little bit of honey, pinch of salt, and chocolate bitters.
So good.
It's funny. I had a drink that had amargo valet in it, that like Mexican bitter amaro, and it almost has like a tobacco-y flavor. And I was just like, we didn't have that at Little Branch, so I was like, I want something to kind of like. Create like do something similar with that, and so I was just like playing around with it. And I was like, ooh, Chinar or honey, like salt and chocolate. Okay, this is working. This is working. Alright, so and then I think you were the first person that had one that wasn't me. So
well, again, this is just it's amazing, and again, I think that'll like because I still get people like ask like they're like. What's in the suitcase or what's in the carry-on? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not giving away the recipe.
It was funny. I was like, I'm totally gonna undo how cool I was in this moment by talking about it right now. But whatever. It was so on our menu. The drinks we have underneath is like who created it, what year approximately, if we know what year, what bar it was created at. And so the suitcase is on the menu right now, so it's like my last name, Little Branch, 2017 or 2018. And actually Georgette Mosier, a friend of hers, came in the other night, and she's like, you got to order the suitcase, and she had a different drink. And he's like, this is really great. I don't know who made this drink up, if it was yours or someone else's. I'm like, I'm glad you like all the drinks that are here. Like, we try to do a good job with everything. Try to play it so cool that I wasn't like. And then now I'm telling the story, so I totally ended all the cool. But I still like, it's one that I'm proud of.
You should be. It's fucking delicious. Like honestly, like it is so damn good, and like that's like.
But it's so named after the iconic Mad Men episode, The Suitcase.
Yep.
Look at this.
He's a big rye drinker, but also like it's kind of going back to what we were talking about with like balanced cocktails, where like this follows like the rigid structure of making an old-fashioned variation, right? It's like 2 ounces of spirit, ½ ounce of modifier, which is like a little bitter, a little sweet, and then bitters.
Yeah.
And a pinch of salt for good measure. But like, it's not like I'm using different metrics or trying to like do anything crazy. But like within that structure, like it's like all this like you could do these really cool flavors, and it's still it's gonna be like familiar and strange at the same time. It's like like that John Barrymore poem. Yeah. Anyways,
But no, like again, I think that like people should always come into St. Tuesdays, order a suitcase, because again, it is fucking delicious.
it's on the menu now. We're gonna rotate our menu pretty regularly, but we'll always be able to make it. Yeah, of course.
Or even a little, because
Yeah.
they don't do it as good. But like, it is. But okay, so on question 4
Question
then.
4.
You talked about being a big reader. I've been told that you love Marvel Comics.
I do.
So,
Oh man.
if a Marvel character were to come into the bar, who would it be, and what would you serve them?
So not an actor, a character, right?
Yeah, well, again, I was told reading comics, not
Wow.
like you're a fan of the movies.
I'm actually more into the movies than
Okay.
the comics.
All right.
I was later to the comics.
Gotcha.
I grew up on X-Men cartoons. That was like the initial.
Gotcha.
And I was rewatching them recently. They hold up.
Yeah. I also realized how fucking dirty they were too. Like,
You're not breathing. Come on, pretty boy. Make a girl feel welcome.
they are.
Well, the X-Men comics are like they fuck.
Yeah.
It's like yeah.
But like
they go to the moon and fuck. It's
Yeah.
weird. It's not like the Avengers. That's like the don't curse whatever. No, like.
But yeah. But like, I mean, also like the X-Men cartoon was very,
There's
very
a lot
dirty.
of a lot of reference about Gambit. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the '90s, right?
Yeah.
All right. So if a character came in here, let's see. Which character would find themselves in a bar like this? I'm gonna go off MCU stuff because that's more my wheelhouse these days. All right, Doctor Strange. I think he'd find himself in a little space like this. He's now probably the most powerful Avenger, and he's probably needs a little spot to like
Chill.
not be seen, not be noticed. You know, it's dim lighting.
There you go.
Yeah, the other day, apparently, this is a quick tangent. This is gonna sound like star fucking again, but so Rihanna and A$AP Rocky live right down the street, and A$AP Rocky's like handler or assistant, whatever, he stays at the hotel a lot. And so our host, he was like, oh, so apparently they might come down to the bar tonight just to give you a heads up. And I was like, man, that's like famous. Like, that's not John Slattery famous, where like he'd walk in and people aren't like, that's like if Obama came in here or something like that, where it wasn't even like I would be like wanting to take a picture with her. I'd be like worried about like, are people gonna freak out? Is someone gonna post this on TikTok? And then we just get like thinking about that. So I'm thinking like Stephen Strange is almost as powerful as Rihanna, but he could probably
Fix it so that
he could probably like blend in down here. What would I serve him? You know what? I'd serve him a Rolls Royce.
all right.
Elegant martini variation. My favorite martini variation. He likes the car, like fancy cars, so we enjoy it. I think he'd probably tip back a couple of those.
Excellent. Well, I think that's a perfect answer.
All
And
right.
again, perfect fucking drink. So cheers.
Yeah, serve him a suitcase. Yeah, it's kind of nuts. I thought these questions were going to get so much more personal.
Go
I'm
on,
so
Mark.
ready to be sincere.
Question 5, drink 5 comes down to the Whiskey Wednesday coin. But before that, what are we drinking?
Maybe I should have saved a whiskey drink for this, but it's got to be dark and stormy.
Apparently.
I mean,
Absolutely.
forever.
Forever, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Spicy, yummy. All right, so question 5 comes down to the coin. You can flip it, you can spin it, you can do whatever you want. Got your coin.
All right.
Don't have to answer. Coin will give us the answer.
Okay.
But if
You're
you
gonna
want
ask the question first.
I am going to answer the question first.
All
Then
right.
you can go ahead and flip it.
Mhm.
So, we interviewed Lauren Shell, who you talked about before, and how your Thursday shifts, you have to work that to keep your skills up.
Yeah.
So when we interviewed Lauren, We asked her who her favorite drinking companion was. Were you upset she didn't say you?
No, because when you asked her, well, I can flip the coin.
Yeah.
I mean, all right.
Says fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah, I was mad that she didn't pick me. Are you kidding? This was my pod mate during all of COVID. This was the only person I made any physical contact with for like 9 months. And she didn't have the wherewithal to have a time machine back when you asked her that question to know that that was going to be the case. I mean, absolutely I'm angry. This is ridiculous. No, of course not. But she's my best friend in the world now, so it's good.
No,
It's funny. She was like, for so long, she just worked Saturdays at Little Branch, and she was at the boat. And she was like this like myth, you know, like Lauren Shell on Saturdays, like all this stuff. And I had never met her. I didn't meet her. I maybe saw her once the first year I worked at Little Branch. So I worked at Little Branch for a year, and then I got a job in Germany. So I left. I was supposed to be gone for 6 to 9 months, but put a pin in that. I went to Milk and Honey in London a few years ago, and you know I was in London, and I was like, I gotta go to the Milk and Honey out here. I made a reservation for one because it's like, you know, members only, and they gave me a little, like, in my memory, it's like just like this one seat in the corner of the bar, like it wasn't at a table there. Have you been to the one?
Yep.
Yeah. So it was like right at the bar, and like there weren't many seats at the bar. I don't know if there was 3 or 4, but it was like I was the only one there.
Yeah.
And I was hanging out there, and then the bartender and I were chatting a little bit, and he's like, "Oh, you work at Little? Oh, okay." Like he was telling me some Sam Ross story about how he went in there and ordered a penicillin. He's like, "Oh, I hear the guy who made this drink is really handsome." All that stuff. And but then he introduced me to the general manager, Pierre, there, and he gave me a little tour of the space. And then he's like, "Look, we're closing to the public. It's like 11, but one of our servers is doing a bartender exam. If you want to, you can hang out as long as you want." Like, and he was like, 3 rounds of 4 drinks. They timed you on how quick you built them, how quick you set the station up afterward, temperature, wash line, like ingredients and stuff. And I love that because he didn't pass. But it wasn't like, you're fired. It was just like, okay, you'll get it next time. Like it was like a very like, one of those things that no one passes their first time, and so there's no like shame around it. And it's just, it's a learning tool. It's a way to make sure everyone's up to par. And I've been thinking about that, like, I want this bar to be like the top standard. I want to be winning awards. I'm very vain that way. Like I want to be on those lists. I really, Time Out does like the best bar team.
Yeah.
That's the one I want to win because I think we do have the best bar team in New York already. We're only going to get better. And but I'm thinking, you know, how do you get those standards up, like to start with? And we've got like, you know, Lauren Shell, Alex Mendoza, Chip Tyndale, like. He's always being written up in Punch Drinker. Michael Timmons. Like we've got amazing people to start out with, but like having an objective rubric for like people that are working their way up to bartending, that isn't like, you know, oh I like you so you get to bartend. You know, like the fact that I got to bartend at Little Branch when I did was ridiculous. Like I should not have been bartending there. Like I got there, and I feel very comfortable doing it now.
Well, again, I'm glad that you did, because otherwise we never would have met. So there you go. Like,
yeah, but it is like trying to establish that, and I love that they had it that way. And then I forget where we put a pin in. But, with the things here, I'm very much like, look, if you get like when we're doing like the timed rounds, if you don't know it, you can ask questions, but the answers are going to be in the form of like our language, right? Like it's going to be, what's a Bulldog cooler? It's a London Buck with orange juice. It's not going to be like ½ ounce of lime juice. You know, like, so like, because I want people to know how to, like the methodology about it, as opposed to just like memorizing everything and then having to like do that. So
well, that I mean, same like the way, and again, you guys deserve all fucking accolades that are going to come your way, because again, this bar is, I think, really amazing, and it's just very unique. But like Cervantes at the Ship, he handwritten out like every cocktail that he wanted everybody to know. But like there was a stack of fucking note cards.
Yeah.
And like people would be like, you're gonna be a hostess before you're a bartender, and you're gonna study these cards. And like, here's the cards, and then be like, what's a what? And then like they would have to make that to be like make it to the bartender world.
Yeah.
And, like I think that's like kind of again reason why I will never be a fucking
It's kind of-
bartender
yeah,
because I have no idea what's in whatever. I can go to the app and I can look at it and be
Yeah,
like,
it's
yeah,
like-
I can have a sheet printed out and I can make that real quick for Instagram.
You know, like I'm not expecting everyone to be like studying the app regularly.
Yeah.
So I made a list of like 99 cocktails to know that are like classics. You know, it's like Negronis on there, Manhattan.
Yeah.
But also like some good bartender's choice ones, things that are
Yeah.
good to churn out. So I made that for the staff to like know because those are going to be where our like time drinks come from. But I don't expect everyone to memorize everything. You can't do it.
Can't.
But you can memorize. You can learn You can learn that an old-fashioned variation is usually 2 half bitters, or Negroni variations usually 1-1-1, and trying to like gain that that comfort with that and that because again that rigidity gives you the freedom to be like, we'll fuck around and make like some cool little new drink or like.
So, all right, 5 drinks down, 5 questions answered. Guys, come to St. Tuesday. Have Covey make you many, many drinks. Covey, thank you so much.
Wednesdays to Sundays, 6 to 2, starting next week. So
Awesome.
yeah, thank you.
Sir, appreciate it.